whole goal with these videos is to show you or share with you what I've been shown lately in hopes it will inspire you to either recognize or realize that we are always receiving. There are amazing messages and cool stuff coming through, and that it can be a really simple, easy process. It doesn't have to be this grand routine or ritual. So I'll start with the first thing. In a recent video, I shared that I saw like a green flashy thingy hanging out above my pillow one night when I got up to go use the bathroom. But anyways, I was in the bathtub and I was like, I'm just gonna connect. Let's see what's up. And I put my intention towards the atmosphere in case there were any spaceships or something hanging out. And I was immediately transported through my mind, through my third eye, so teleported, whatever, remote viewing maybe, astral projection, onto the spaceship. So I'll describe what I saw and what I was shown. One thing I noticed right away, it's like I could see out like a window that I was above Earth. There were no buttons. I was like, what's going on? How do you work this thing? Everything was really smooth, sort of a metal-like texture. I'm not sure if they have the same metal materials as us, but I remember touching it and it felt really cold. Again, this is all through the experiences of my third eye, but it was almost like dry ice. I was like, God, that's kind of cold. What's going on there, guys? And they were letting me know that their bodies, because of the frequency of their bodies, they regulate their heat differently. They don't need to regulate their body temperatures the same way we do. One, because they can literally make their body disappear and then reappear elsewhere. So these beings, they looked really like the typical alien. They're really tall. Maybe they were grays. I'm not sure. I try not to look up or Google stuff, so I'm just sharing what I was shown. But they had elongated foreheads, whitish, grayish skin, very typical alien eyes, like the black, like no pupils, very typical alien face, long fingers. I'm having them show. Their third eye was really activated too. Like I just noticed they kind of had energy, or like a bullseye almost. And so I was pulled to touch the third eye and it kind of jiggled like jello. I know that seems weird, but I hold very little boundaries for personal space down here, so I'm definitely gonna do it the same with them. But their skin was really squishy, kind of like gooey squishy, but they're showing me that they can harden it if they need to in defense, which they rarely do. They're definitely benevolent beings. And there was 4 of them. So they were kind of all at this one area within this spaceship that had no buttons, but there was a screen that could like pop up and show a holographic map. And it was really cool what they were saying. It's 1 cubic light year. That's how they translate it. They're like, the best way we can show it's 1 cubic light year of space that they're looking at within this map, which included our galaxy. And so they kind of just can actually hone in. It's like a 3D model floating map, so to speak. And they can kind of see what the frequency and energy is doing within the stars and planets that they're viewing. And so I was asking them about the buttons because I saw some of them pressing their hands onto the metal material to do things, and they didn't have fingertips. So let me see what they're saying that. They're like, oh, well, the whole ship is powered by their consciousness and like really, really advanced technology. So they can 100% teleport their spaceship to, say, the atmosphere above the atmosphere of the Earth and then take it elsewhere. They were higher dimensional beings, 100%. And something that was really interesting is I was telepathically chatting with one of the beings, and I saw the other ones walk away into another room. I'm like, what are they doing? And he was like, oh, they're gonna go take rest. I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he said they send their consciousness to source for regeneration. And I'm like, can I do that? Like, that sounds great. And he goes, you do it in a way. It happens 100% in our dreams quite often, but he's like, you can do that. That's why you guys have meditation. That's basically what's happening in meditation is you're sending your consciousness, you're releasing your consciousness to source for regeneration. That's why you feel so refreshed after meditation, because they don't need sleep, as I've been shown quite often. These higher dimensionals, they don't need really to eat or even sleep, but they can take rest apparently. So let me see if there's anything else shown with that. Yeah, and so they're going back to the screen, they're showing me the map of how it works. And they're like, this shows one cubic light year. That's not like the exact phrase, but that's how I translated it through my consciousness. 1 cubic light year of space and time. And that space and time is constantly expanding, but then it comes back onto itself. So what they showed me were 2 cubes right next to each other, and the fabric wrapped around the cubes looked like outer space, like the universe, all the stars and planets. And so the 1 cube, it's like the fabric was moving out, down, back, and then back up onto itself. And the same one where it's going out, down, back, and then back up to itself. So there simultaneously the fabric of space and time was moving out, but then kind of coming back to itself. And it was weird that they showed me cubes. I still was trying to ask, I'm like, I don't get this. I always thought of parallel universes as like a marble, you know, a bunch of marbles of like our universes. So the cube part really confused me, and I'm still gonna look into what that means. But they were just showing me like this would be 2 parallel timelines right next to each other, and just seeing how they act out, but they're almost acting out in reverse, which was really interesting. So let me see. Yeah, I think that's it about them. They're really cool. So they're just kind of hovering. I was like, so why are you here? And oh, that's right. So the green thing, they're like, oh, we were that. Because I've tried, I guess, connecting with them before. I watched Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, that documentary about aliens. And so I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like the first time I did it from the bathtub because I was too scared to go outside and actually like commit. But when the green thing floated above my pillow, they're like, oh, that was us. We were kind of testing out if you felt ready to physically see us because you asked for that. And I'm like, I did. But it feels really scary once you see something. So they're like, oh, we can sense it scared you, so we'll be more gentle. And, you know, I think that's just one of the most interesting things when they reminded me that, where I'm like, go ahead, show me yourself. Like, pop into reality, I'm ready. And then they do it, and I'm like, no, please, no, go away. So that's something I want to work on, because I'm like, I'm really down to see you guys, but apparently not, because I get terrified when I do see. So that was that experience of what I've been shown, and that all happened from my bathtub. Another thing, not recently, so when I first started diving into all of this, like 5 years ago, I was shown, I was like, what's my starseed? Tell me, what's my origin? And I was shown Sirius, and I just was like, I want to be a Palladian. It was kind of like the picking hat or choosing hat from Harry Potter, where I was like, no man, I want to be Palladian. And of course, if you feel an attachment to a certain identity, that's just third dimensional reality playing out itself. It doesn't really matter what your starseed origin is. All that matters is that you're here now on Earth. Hi, I'm Chelsea J. Bear, and I'm an Earthling. So I remember, and that's come up a couple of times in readings where I'm like, tell me my starseed, and it always is Syrian. There's even been people with cards, like the starseed cards, and I'll pick, and it's always Syrian. But I've always just wanted to be a Palladian, and now I've finally outgrown that, because I think just it being called Sirius, I'm like, they just seem so serious. And the Palladians are like, blah, blah, blah. But too, with the Syrians too, I hadn't really channeled them, like actually not at all. I tried, where I've had a lot of, the first channeling I did was with the Palladians. And so I just felt like, oh, I have this stronger connection to them. And I realized just everything is divinely timed. So I sat there and I'm like, okay, tell me about my Sirius starseed origin. Let's do this. Because it just come up so much, where I know I've done past lives or current lives on Pleiades and Matanka. I don't know what else. But I just really hadn't spent any time channeling information about Sirius, the constellation. So I sat down and did, and I was shown that there's 2 planets, Planet A and Planet B, which I did not know. So they were showing me a little bit about Planet A, because I actually had a client that was from Sirius Planet A. But then they're showing me Planet B, and that it's all covered in water, and that there's mermaids there. And I was just like, no. You guys, nah. Like, I'm not a unicorn, fairy, mermaid person. I'm like, I love, funny story, fun fact, I loved The Little Mermaid growing up, which I'm like, they're like, yeah, that's why. That's like, of course. But so I just went down, and like, I don't, especially with light beings and learning new things, I don't go onto Google, because I think it it's okay, there's no law, but if I'm shown, like the gray, I don't know if I saw in the spaceship that they're grays or not. I'm not gonna Google it. I'm just gonna trust that they felt nice and they looked like this. But after I channeled that, you know, there's 2 planets and one's covered in water and they have mermaids, I actually Googled it just real quick. I was like, Sirius planet B, mermaids. And of course, every single article in the description mentioned mer people. So I'm like, okay, I gotta trust myself on this one. I'm still uncomfortable about it, even though it totally makes sense, but it's just not my vibe yet. But so they were showing me it's a planet completely covered in water, except they do have like these little rocks that kind of hang out so that the mer people, other marine life, can hop on and sunbathe because the sun is so healing. And the waters are actually very crystal clear, but they can, very similar to Earth, get very dark and deep the deeper you go. There's a lot of marine life, there's whales, there's dolphins. Fun fact, whales sing light language. That's what I was shown in this one, which was so beautiful. And that's why if you were watching my stories the other day, I was sitting in the bathtub listening to whale songs. It just was really magical. This was soon after I discovered how much I am a Sirian Planet B person. So let me see what they were showing me. They were showing me, so how the mer, I was speaking with one being, her name is Ethia, E-T-H-I-A, which they showed me to mean the beginning, which I thought was really cool. And she kind of had like this bluish, whitish skin, but that the mer people come in a variety of colors, similar human colors and even darker blues, very similar to like that Avatar style looked. To me, she kind of looked like the little Muppets from the movie The Dark Crystal, kind of like that face, but with bigger eyes and also pupils. So her eyes, their eye colors could be different. Same with the hair, kind of like the movie The Hook, the Mermaids, where it's like they could have different color hair, but not like every color on the spectrum. And their hands weren't webbed, which was really surprising. I was expecting her hands to be webbed, but she was just like, our tails do all the work, yo. We don't need webbed hands. We're not amphibians. And they were saying that all the marine life, the whales, the dolphins, all the other marine life are considered sacred. So they don't eat fish, actually. They may eat seaweed, and they're showing me some other things I didn't really know, but they actually don't need to eat because they're 5th dimensional and higher. They don't really need rest. I randomly saw that they don't have nipples, which I know sounds weird, but they don't really breastfeed. They have children, they can conceive. It just, they don't breastfeed because they're like part fish. I don't know, that was a cool thing that they showed me. And so I had Ethia take me down, about the whales. So they're showing me how the whales on Planet B are considered the wise ones. They're kind of the gatekeepers of B, and when I say B, like Sirius Planet B, and that when the whales migrate, there's like this parade of all the whales migrating, and all the mer people kind of line up and watch the parade and listen to the song and sort of like, see you later. And so she took me really deep. I was kind of noticing, I'm like, there were some like housing, so to speak, on the surface where I could see there was light from the scales of fish. There's certain fish that shed their scales and they're electric by nature, so they use that to form light. But she was showing me most of the cities are deep in caves and underwater. They don't want to build up their cities up because they don't want to interfere with the whale, dolphin, marine life road system, so to speak. They want to respect so that the whales and dolphins and all the marine life have plenty of room to swim and play around, and they all telepathically communicate to each other, all the animals and the beings down there. So she took me through some caves, and I could see like these cities that were lit up. It looked very Greece in nature, a lot of kind of like that white marble kind of style look with columns. And she was showing me that Planet B is a very healing place, that a lot of souls come to Sirius Planet B to be healed, and that we as humans even come here quite often in our dreams, regardless if we realize it or not. It's a high attraction point because it has such, I don't know, like significant or a certain kind of frequency. Sound frequency is very important there. So she showed me that there's various temples that are scattered across the planet on specific ley lines, and each temple has a theme. She only showed me one temple though, the Temple of Purification, which she is considered like a high priestess or the watcher of the temple, and I think there's a couple watchers of each temple. And so she was taking me into the temple where there's this circle of columns, and on the outer circle are a bunch of beds where like the souls or people can lay on. And then in the center of the column was like this diamond stone looking, as the purification stone, that it actually emits a frequency that creates a sound vibration. And so people would go into that temple of purification, lay down, receive the sound healing. I think Athea does some sound healing stuff, but even though the temples were kind of big, so that's just one room, the stone purification room, and you can actually go into other various rooms and receive different forms of healing based on the theme of purification. And it was really fascinating to me just how important sound healing was, and everything vibrating through the ocean. And then like a really fun fact I was thinking about, I asked her this a couple of days ago, because like if you go swimming in the ocean, especially near the waves, but even I've been pretty far out in the ocean and gone underwater, it's really kind of loud. You hear all the clicking and clacking and the sound moving. And if you're near waves, you're hearing that. And she said, oh, our ears don't hear that. It's actually as peaceful and as quiet as it would be for us to be in a forest, because the frequency of their ears, that they don't hear that frequency. So it's like dead silent for them and actually quite relaxing. I'm trying to think what else. And then I think one of the final things she showed me was like this room filled with gold or gold-like material. I was like, why do you have this? You guys don't have a need for currency or money. Once you hit 5th dimension, I think on pretty much all planets, like there's no need for currency because manifestation's instantaneous. That's a sort of rule of thumb with a 5th dimensional reality. And she's like, it's not currency, it's actually this gold. It's not exactly gold, but looked like gold, so I'll just call it gold. She said the gold has a very healing, high frequency, vibrational oscillation. She was saying oscillation a lot. She's like, so we have these chambers full of this gold material, and it's just there to facilitate the healing, and sometimes they might pass out pieces or bits of the gold material for you to carry around, kind of how we carry around crystals. She's like, yeah, it's just a very healing, high vibrational material. And she was showing me we could do the same with our gold material. You know, if you get the 18 karat or higher, I don't know if you can get higher, but it's the pure, the gold, the more benefits of the healing you'll receive. Yeah, so I think I'll communicate more with Athea. I have a feeling, I've kind of been shown, but sometimes when I'm shown things, I don't believe them 100%, but that she's a soul fractal of mine. I did record all of this into voice notes, and I just put it into a doc, so I think I will also make the actual writing part a blog, so in case I missed anything, because there was a lot of downloads and information. That way you can watch this video and read and sort of absorb everything. And so I think next I will do a sort of video of everything I know about what it means to be a Sirian starseed from Planet B. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy your life. Stay beautiful, stay lit. I love you.